In recent weeks, I have made a video about all 4 of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios. The Talkpod A36 PLUS, the Wouxun KG-Q10G, the Baofeng UV-5G PLUS sized model, and the Ailunce HA1G, affectionately known as the HAG1. And as this video unfolds, I will compare these 4 new GMRS walkie-talkie radios to each other. I will expound on some of the pros and some of the cons of each of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios, and at the end of the video, or the money shot if you will, I will tell you which one of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios is the best one, and which one of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios you should purchase. And because that will be my money shot, I will be very careful not to drop any loose change on the floor, figuratively speaking. First of all, allow me to make it clear that these 4 GMRS walkie-talkie radios are from 4 different and competing GMRS walkie-talkie radio manufacturers. And all 4 of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios were sent to me at no cost by said manufacturers so that I could share them with you. Now, allow me to start at the beginning, and with what is probably the most important factor for many people that are shopping for a GMRS walkie-talkie radio, and that is, of course, the price. The price for the Talkpod A36 PLUS The price for the Talkpod A36 PLUS starts at $40. The price for the Wouxun KG-Q10G is $220. The Baofeng UV-5G PLUS sized model is $35. However, it is important to point out that it usually comes in a 2-pack, and the 2-pack will cost you $70 for both radios. And the price for the Ailunce HA1G, affectionately known as the HAG1, is about $75. I will put affiliate links to each of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios in the information section of this video below. And just because everyone keeps asking, if you look closely in the more information section of this video, you will also find a link to purchase the shirt that I am wearing, as well as many of the other shirts that I wear. So if when you grow up you aspire to be just like me, you can start now by copying my fashion choices. All of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios are repeater capable, all have a bunch of programmable channels, and all can monitor 2 channels at the same time. However, this is not the kind of boring stuff that I'm going to focus on in this video. If you want those kind of stats and information for these radios, click on the links that I put in the more information section below and look up that boring stuff for yourself. Or watch one of those lame YouTube channels that simply reads the specs right off of the box. Because in this video, I will be focusing mostly, not entirely, but mostly on the intangibles. And no, The Intangibles is not some lame Disney movie. I am talking about the kind of information about these GMRS walkie-talkie radios that is not listed on the box and that you cannot easily find online, starting with the size of each of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios. As you can see, these GMRS walkie-talkie radios range in size from this big to about that big. And because of the different sizes, the buttons are much smaller on the Talkpod. The Wouxun, and the HAG1 have slightly larger buttons than the Talkpod. However, the Baofeng has the largest buttons of them all, a very important feature for all of our sausage-fingered friends. And as you can see, all of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios look quite dissimilar. The Talkpod and the Wouxun are both available for purchase in different colors, whilst the Baofeng and the HA1 are available only in black. Out of all of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios, the Talkpod feels the least satisfying in the hand. It is the lightest and the flimsiest feeling of all four of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios, and it feels more like a toy than all of the others. The other three all feel tight and very satisfying in the hand. However, out of all of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios, if I had to choose which one feels the best, I would have to say that the HA1 feels the strongest, the most durable, the most manly, and most important, the most satisfying in the hand. As you can see, all of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios have color screens that are all very similar in size. And as you can see in this video clip, all of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios do fairly well, not great, but fairly well in bright sunlight. I think the Baofeng and the HA1 have a slight edge over the others in the sunlight, but the difference is not huge. However, overall, in any lighting conditions, the Baofeng has the easiest to see and easiest to read screen because of the larger font size and less clutter on the screen compared to the others. A very important factor that many people overlook when shopping for a GMRS walkie-talkie radio is the battery size. In other words, how many electricities the battery can hold. The more electricities a battery can hold, generally, the longer the radio will last. And you know how important it is to last long. Storage of electricities is measured in milliamp hours. You do not need to know what a milliamp hour is, you just need to know that the bigger the number of milliamp hours, the more electricities the battery can hold, and the longer it will last. The battery on the Talkpod can hold 1,500 milliamp hours. The Wouxun battery holds twice as many electricities at 3,000 milliamp hours. The Baofeng battery holds 2,500 milliamp hours, and the HA1 can hold 2,800 milliamp hours of electricities. All of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios are chargeable via the USB-Cs. However, to charge the Wouxun radio, the battery must be attached to the radio because the USB-C's hole is in the radio itself. All of the other radios have the USB-C's hole on the battery itself. So the battery can be charged separate from the radio should you desire to do so. And this brings up the question that everyone wants to know about these GMRS walkie-talkie radios, and that is, how many FARs does it talks? And allow me to make this very clear, and let there be no mistake. All four of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios have virtually the exact same FARs. Pretty much just like every other GMRS walkie-talkie radio that I have ever tested. And just in case you were not aware, in my 29-year career as a YouTube superstar, I have tested virtually all of them. The Baofeng does output a couple of more watts of RF electricities than the other three, and that extra couple of watts of RF electricities might help your FARs if you are trying to talk through a bunch of walls, or if the radio is connected to a big antenna with a lot of coax cable. But otherwise, all of these radios, pretty much all GMRS radios in the 5-watt range, all have the same FARs. Do not let yourself be fooled into believing that any one GMRS walkie-talkie has noticeably more FARs than the other. Out of all of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios, the Wouxun Ocean is the only one that is a super heterodyne radio, whereas the other three are SoC or system on a chip type radios, also known as homodyne. Homodyne. This means that the super heterodyne circuitry in the Wouxun Ocean radio is better quality. The radio will be more sensitive to picking up weak signals, and it will do a better job at filtering out static and bleed-over noise from other channels. Many radio dorks consider super heterodyne radios to be better than SoC or homodyne radios. Homodyne. However, super heterodyne radios do cost more to manufacture, and this is at least partially why the Wouxun Ocean costs so much more than the other radios. The Wouxun Ocean also has a built-in GPS, and it is able to display your location, transmit your location, and receive location data to and from other Q-series radios, something that none of the other radios can do, further accounting for the higher price of the Wouxun Ocean radio. In addition to transmitting on GMRS, all of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios can also receive and listen to other frequencies, some more than the others. The Talkpod can receive commercial FM radio 136 to 180 MGHz FM, 230 to 250 MGHz FM and AM, 350 to 400 MGHz FM and AM, and 400 to 512 MGHz FM and AM. The Wouxun Ocean can receive commercial FM radio 136 to 174 MGHz FM, 320 to 480 MGHz FM, 714 to 999 MGHz FM, and CB radio channels in both AM and FM, another thing that only the Wouxun Ocean radio can do. The Wouxun Ocean is the only GMRS radio on the market today that can also receive CB radio channels. The Baofeng can receive commercial FM radio 136 to 260 MGHz FM and 400 to 520 MGHz FM. And the HAG-1 can receive commercial FM radio 136 to 174 MGHz FM and 400 to 480 MGHz FM. Another very important factor to consider when shopping for a GMRS walkie-talkie radio is, can you play with it in the bathtub? And this is exactly what IP ratings are for. IP stands for intrusion protection, and this describes how well the radio protects against intrusive things like water and dust. The Talkpod has an IP54 rating, meaning that it should go nowhere near your bathtub. The Wouxun Ocean has an IP67 rating, so you can play with it in the bathtub. The Baofeng uses a different rating system, and Baofeng says that it has an IPX4 rating, which, as best as I am able to calculate, is equal to an IP54 rating, so do not take it near your bathtub. And the HAG-1 has an IP67 rating, making it perfect for playing with the radio whilst sitting in a tepid pool of your own filth. Another intangible quality of any GMRS walkie-talkie radio is the out-of-the-box experience and ease of use. The out-of-the-box experience and ease of use probably will not matter as much to the old-timers and the GMRS experts, but it probably matters a lot to anyone that is new to the exciting and dynamic world of GMRS. The menu systems on all four of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios are easy to use once you figure them out. The Talkpod and the Baofeng both use very similar menus. The Wouxun Ocean has a short set of menus and a long set of menus, depending on if you tap the menu button or hold it down for a few seconds. but otherwise the menus are very similar to the Baofeng and the Talkpod. However, the HAG1 has a totally unique look and feel to its menu system, as you can see, and many people find this layout easier to use. And whilst on the subject of ease of use, all of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios come with the 22 GMRS channels and 8 standard GMRS repeater channels pre-programmed and listed as channels 1 through 22 for the regular GMRS channels and channels 23 through 30 for the repeater channels, as all GMRS walkie-talkie radios should be, except for the Talkpod. The Talkpod lists and displays channels 1 through 22 as FRS channels, which are the same frequency as GMRS. However, on the Talkpod, these are all set to Narrowband for FRS, and this could cause trouble when talking to other GMRS radios, which, as I'm sure you probably already know, would all be transmitting in Wideband. The Talkpod lists the 22 GMRS channels, again, the same frequencies as FRS channels, but now set to Wideband. It lists GMRS channels 1 through 22 as channels 23 through 44, and the repeater channels as channels 45 through channel 52. And this could lead to much confuculation to someone that is new to the exciting and dynamic world of GMRS. But wait, there's more. Also on the Talkpod, all of the out-of-the-box channels have CTC Tones pre-programmed on them, which is the absolute dumbest, worst thing in the world that a GMRS radio manufacturer could ever do. What this means is, on the Talkpod, once you figure out the right channel to use, and your friend puts their GMRS walkie-talkie radio on the same channel, unless your friend also goes out of the way to figure out what tones your Talkpod is pre-programmed with, when your friend calls you from his radio, you will never hear him. Your friend will hear you when you transmit, but you will not hear your friend, which can and does cause major confucularity. This is easily correctable if you are aware of it and if you know how to fix it. But as I mentioned, this is the leading cause of much confuculation, especially for someone that is new to the exciting and dynamic world of GMRS. However, one of the features that the Baofeng has, a feature that none of these other radios have, and a feature that really comes in handy if your friend bought a Talkpod, is a frequency counter option. That when in use will display the frequency and any tones being transmitted on a nearby radio. Now, allow me to mention Chirp software compatibility. If a radio works with the Chirp software, instead of having to use the manufacturer's software, which usually only runs on Windows, you can use the free Chirp software to program your radio using Windows, Mac, or Linux. And as of today, only the Talkpod can be used with Chirp, meaning you must use the manufacturer's Windows software to program the other radios. This will probably change over time, but as of today, that's the way it is. And of course, to use either the manufacturer's programming software or Chirp, you will need a cable to connect the radio to your computer. The Talkpod does include a programming cable when you purchase it. The Wouxun does not provide a cable in the box. The Baofeng does come with a programming cable, and the HAG1 does come with a programming cable, but only if you purchase the radio from Amazon. It does not come with a programming cable if you purchase your HAG1 direct from Redivis. However, if you use Windows 11, you can expect some challenges getting the HAG1 cable to work. And of course, the most important factor when shopping for a GMRS walkie-talkie radio is the all-important Roger beep. And yes, all 4 of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios do have a Roger beep. However, the Talkpod and the HAG1 have no side tone. This means that only the people hearing your transmission can enjoy your Roger beep. You will not hear it when you're transmitting. The Wouxun, Ocean, and the Baofeng both have a side tone, allowing you to listen and enjoy your Roger beep while you transmit. And the Talkpod also has a faux MDC tone that you can set to work like your Roger beep, which makes the radio sound very cool. And now for my money shot. Which is the best radio and which one should you purchase? My friend, I just wasted a lot of my very valuable time enumerating the features and pros and cons of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios. And deep down in my cold, black heart that is 3 sizes too small, I feel that it is now time for you to look inside yourself and ask yourself what it is that you desire in a GMRS walkie-talkie radio. What do you yearn for in a GMRS walkie-talkie radio, and what features are important to you in a GMRS walkie-talkie radio? My friend, once you fully understand your desires and yearnings, then whichever of these GMRS walkie-talkie radios most closely fulfills those yearnings and desires is the one that you should purchase.